listeners! Welcome back to English for Life. I'm Emma.
And I'm Daniel. We are absolutely thrilled to have you join us again for episode 2 of our podcast.
That's right, Daniel. Today we're diving deep into a topic that is truly crucial for anyone on their language learning journey, or really any journey for that matter.
Absolutely, Emma. We're going to explore the crucial distinction between two powerful forces, discipline versus motivation. You know, often people think they're the same, but there's a really important difference that can make all the difference in achieving your goals, especially when learning a new language.
Indeed. So get ready to rethink how you approach consistency and progress. Daniel, let's dive right in. When we talk about these two concepts, what exactly do we mean by motivation, and how is that different from discipline? They sound similar on the surface, but I know there's a key distinction.
That's a great question, Emma, and it's essential to clarify from the start. Motivation, at its core, is the psychological driving force behind our actions. It's that initial internal or even external push that gets us started, that initiates goal-directed behavior. You know, it can be intrinsic, meaning it comes from within us, from personal satisfaction, like the joy of understanding a new English phrase. Or it can be extrinsic, driven by external rewards or pressures, such as needing to learn English for a job promotion. It's often fueled by excitement or a new goal.
So it's that exciting spark, the energy that gets you off the starting blocks.
Exactly. But on the other hand, Discipline is self-control and consistency. It's the ability to follow through on your plans every single day, even when that initial motivation fades or when you just don't feel like it.
That's where the rubber meets the road, isn't it? Because motivation can be fleeting.
Precisely. Discipline is much more stable than motivation. It relies on building routine, forming habits, and maintaining commitment. It's about following through on a plan, rather than waiting for feelings or inspiration to guide you. It's about doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel in that moment.
That's powerful. It really highlights why discipline is the more sustainable force. Motivation might feel great at first. It might give you that burst of energy to start a new English lesson. But discipline is what truly carries you through when that energy dips or vanishes completely.
Exactly. As one motivational coach put it, discipline is doing what you hate to do, but doing it like you love it. It's about committing to the process, day in and day out, whether you're motivated or not. And that's how true, lasting progress is made, especially in something as long-term as language learning.
Daniel, that was a fantastic explanation. Now, to make this even more tangible for our listeners, let's dive into some personal stories. Can you walk us through how you built discipline, for instance, when you were learning to play the guitar? I remember you mentioning that journey.
Absolutely, Emma. That's a great example because it perfectly illustrates the motivation-discipline dynamic. So I started learning guitar back in January, and at first I was incredibly motivated. You know, I'd practice for 30 minutes daily with so much excitement. I was genuinely thrilled about it.
That initial burst of energy.
Exactly. But as often happens, after a few weeks, that initial surge of motivation just disappeared. It wasn't fun anymore. It felt like a chore. And I found myself procrastinating, making excuses.
Instead of stopping altogether, which was my immediate impulse, I told myself, just play, even if it's for 5 minutes. That was my small, non-negotiable step. I set it for the same time every day, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, it became a habit. The momentum built naturally, even when I didn't feel like picking up the guitar.
That's consistency in action right there. It reminds me so much of my own journey with writing. For a long time, I'd wait for inspiration to strike, for that perfect idea or feeling of motivation to sit down and write. And often, it just wouldn't come. Then, I switched my approach, similar to your guitar practice. I started with a non-negotiable rule. Write a single paragraph every morning. At first, it felt so small, almost insignificant. But those paragraphs added up, day by day, week by week. It built its own momentum, just like you said.
Exactly. It's truly incredible how those small, consistent steps create big results over time. It's not about feeling inspired every day, it's about showing up consistently. Building on that, Emma, I think it's the perfect segue into our next segment, practical strategies. We've talked about our personal journeys, but now let's share some actionable ways our listeners can actually build discipline in their daily lives.
Great idea, Daniel. I know our listeners are eager for these. How should we approach them?
We'll go through each strategy slowly, really talk about why it works and how you might apply it. And to make it more interactive, I'll also prompt listeners with reflection questions they can think about, maybe journal on later. So feel free to pause and reflect upon each question as it is asked.
Perfect. Let's start with the first one.
Clarifying your purpose. This might sound simple, but knowing why you're doing something gives your effort meaning and keeps you engaged even when that initial motivation dips.
So it's about connecting to a deeper reason.
Precisely. Research actually shows that purpose-driven habits tend to stick much longer because they tap into intrinsic motivation, that internal drive that doesn't rely on external rewards or fleeting feelings. It's about understanding the bigger picture.
Right. Now, listeners, as you think about your own goals, ask yourself this. What deeper reason is behind your goal? Why does it truly matter to you? Take a moment to consider that.
Moving on to the second strategy, which ties directly into our personal stories, start tiny and scale slowly. Instead of aiming too big too soon, which can be overwhelming and lead to burnout, begin with a small, achievable action.
Like your 5 minutes of guitar practice.
Exactly. That tiny step helps you maintain momentum without feeling overwhelmed. It builds confidence and makes the habit feel manageable, rather than a huge mountain to climb. Over time, as that tiny action becomes ingrained, you can gradually increase the intensity or duration.
And for our listeners, here's a reflection question for this strategy. What is one tiny action you could start today that won't feel overwhelming? Think about it. What's the smallest step you can take towards your goal?
Building on that idea of making it easy, our third strategy is to design your environment for success. This means actively removing distractions and adding visual cues that support your desired habits.
That makes so much sense. Like, if you want to read more, have a book right there on your nightstand instead of buried in a drawer.
Exactly. Or if you want to write daily, leave your notebook or laptop open to the document where you see it. This drastically reduces friction and decision fatigue. You're not relying on willpower to get started. Your environment is nudging you in the right direction. It's about making the desired action the path of least resistance.
So, for our listeners, here's a reflection prompt. What in your physical or digital space either supports or distracts you from your goal? How can you proactively adjust it?
Moving on to our fourth strategy, monitor progress like a scientist. Think of your efforts as a scientific experiment. You collect data on your daily actions, observe the results, and then review them weekly, making adjustments as needed.
So, it's about objective tracking, not just guessing if you're making progress.
Precisely. This reflective loop strengthens your discipline system because you're constantly learning what works and what doesn't. You're not just hoping, you're measuring and refining. It keeps you accountable and shows you tangible proof of your efforts, even when the feeling isn't there.
And for listeners, a reflection prompt here. What small metric could you track each day related to your goal? And when will you schedule time to review your progress? Perhaps at the end of each week.
Our fifth and final practical strategy for today is to reward consistency over intensity. It's not about huge, overwhelming pushes every now and then. A small reward for doing something daily, consistently, is far more powerful than one big reward after a massive, exhausting effort.
So, celebrating the small wins?
Absolutely. This approach reinforces habit formation without leading to burnout. It tells your brain, hey,
this consistent effort is worthwhile and enjoyable, rather than associating your goal with extreme effort and eventual exhaustion. The key is to make the reward immediate and linked to the consistent action, not just a big outcome in the distant future.
That's a great point. And for our listeners, try asking yourself, how will I reward myself, even in a small way, when I stick to my habit this week? These match well with discipline as a muscle approaches: repetition, gradually increasing, plus self-awareness.
All right, let's move into our vocabulary review. We have 8 words that came up today. I'll say the word first, give the meaning, and then use it in a sentence that ties back to what we talked about. First up is fleeting. The meaning is lasting only a short time. An example using this in context of what we discussed: her enthusiasm was fleeting. She lost interest after one day. Next, commitment. This means a firm promise or dedication. My take on it in a sentence: he showed real commitment by studying for an hour every morning. Third, routine. This refers to a regular way of doing things. How I'd use it: her routine included 15 minutes of guitar practice each day. Fourth word is achievable, meaning realistic and within reach. For example, he set achievable goals, like writing 1 paragraph per day. Fifth, consistency. This is doing the same thing regularly over time. An example: her consistency in practicing built real progress after weeks. Number 6, momentum. The meaning here is the force that builds with steady progress. How I'd say it: after a few days of practice, she gained momentum and didn't stop. 7th, discipline. This means self-control, to stick with something despite difficulty. An example: building discipline helped him study even when he didn't feel like it. And finally, our 8th word, environment. This refers to the surrounding conditions that influence behavior. A sentence using it: he improved focus by creating an environment free of distractions.
Let's take a moment to summarize everything we've talked about today. Motivation, that initial spark, may help you take the first step, but it's really discipline, built through small, consistent actions, grounded in purpose and shaped by your environment, that keeps you moving forward.
Absolutely. And Emma, discipline isn't just about willpower or pushing yourself through something difficult. It actually has a far broader impact. It enhances mental health, reduces stress, and gives you a stronger, deeper sense of control over your life. Studies actually show that individuals with high self-control are more resilient. They make healthier choices and generally experience greater well-being. It's not just about reaching goals, but about the overall quality of your life.
And there's a quote we love from Robert Collier that perfectly captures this idea. He said, "Success is the sum of small efforts, repeated day in and day out." It truly captures how steady progress, no matter how small that effort feels at the time, adds up and builds over time into something significant. It's really powerful when you think about it.
And that brings us, unfortunately, to the close of episode 2 of English for Life. We truly hope you found some practical insights today and feel inspired to strengthen your discipline.
Absolutely. Remember, even the tiniest steps make a monumental difference over time. Take what we've discussed, set your purpose, intentionally design your physical and digital space, track your progress, and don't forget to reward your consistency.
Exactly. Believe in those small wins. Every single one of them is laying the foundation for lasting change and building that muscle of discipline.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back in the next episode to explore another life-enhancing conversation in English.
Until then, stay disciplined, stay curious, and keep moving forward. You've got this.